They're watching the recording. He was like, I have to do my best Charles Hamaker impression. I was like, this fucking guy. All
He did
right.
pretty
Well,
good.
yeah, it was pretty good. I was like, I thought it was gonna be like, make my voice sound funny. And then I kid you not, I was sitting there in the Mariners press box listening to this, and I was like, you know what? That wasn't bad. So, yes, welcome back to Soundwaves from the Sea. Just like it was last week, this is a two-person show with Michael. Nope, you're on this side of me. Michael and myself. Got my directions wrong. Crazy. There's a lot going on in the world of the Sounders. So we'll have a lot to discuss. But before anything else with the show, obviously, was a very shocking and scary sight with Stefan Frei yesterday afternoon, taking a knee to the head at the end of the match against Columbus. Anytime a guy takes any contact to the head is scary, right? But obviously, everything that happened then, getting him on the board, taking him out in the ambulance. I don't remember the last time I saw an ambulance out on the field at Lumen for a Sounders match. Unfortunately, happened somewhat recently with the Mariners a few months ago. Um, so, but yeah, Steph seems fine. He posted on all of his
He's
social
posting on the
media.
internet, yeah.
His as I was telling Michael here, I was like, I got a kick out of it. I got home and I see Steph post. It's the same picture that the Sounders posted, right, of him in the huddle, and I was like, oh, this is just the Sounders reposting something. His opening line kills me. It's still trying to figure out what happened at the end of the game with this cheeky like tongue out emoji. Um, so he said he's back home resting, which is great. It was Sounders told, I think Sounders made it clear. I don't know if it was at the match. I don't know if they told you or what, but he was responsive when he got into the ambulance. Um,
Yeah, they actually said that in the post-match presser. Schmidt said that he was responsive, he was moving his fingers and moved his arm. Like he was aware, but he was just still just laying there, not really able to move all
yeah.
that well.
Okay. Um, as Mike was talking, we were talking before we started. They've got training tomorrow, so we'll probably hear more then. But anytime there's a head injury, obviously it's very scary. Just for a guy who's obviously he's a great keeper. That doesn't need to be stated further. One of the greatest sounder keeper ever. Is that a debate?
No,
Like,
No.
not a debate. He is the
yeah,
greatest Sounders keeper.
just keeping the question out there. But also a good guy. You know, I was thinking about this as I was ready to get it recorded here with Mike. Um, I don't know if I've told this story on here. I might have, but I remember after I think the 23 season, they did the end of the season press conference as they normally do, and Steph was there. I think that was that. Yeah, because uh, it was the well kept secret about Pedro, I believe. Like Craig had quipped, it was like everybody seems to know who we're going to sign, and I was just like, oh well. But Steph was there, and I remember he was chatting with some media afterwards. Don't know how, but he was talking about Lavender, and I was like sitting here talking to one of the greatest MLS keepers of all time, talk about how he wants to plant lavender. Um, I don't know. The point was he was super kind to everybody. Even a guy like me, I don't talk a lot in the Sounders media availabilities. The most I talk in Sounders matches is probably to Mike in the press box. Um, you know, but just anytime I've ever spoken to the guy has been super genuine, and takes time to listen. Like, so uh yeah, I don't know. I wanted to start the show with that because I think that was it's more important than everything else. And the fact that Brian Schmetzer was so emotional talking about it, about the match ending, needing to end the match, sorry, right? Because it seemed like the referee wanted to go ahead and give that final corner, right?
That's
Uh,
what it seemed like. It was just the whole thing was weird. I posted something yesterday kind of slandering the referee after the match, which I was all emotional based. There was no reporting behind it. I was just very emotional after the fact. Um, the ref was just doing his job. His protocol is to get on with the game. He wasn't able to come over to the coaches because he's being swarmed by the players by on both sides and by Diego Rossi, who was like, "Hey, come on, let's get this game going. There's still 30 seconds left on the
mm,
clock." But I don't know. I My response was emotionally charged, but I feel like I still think the ref could have handled it just a little bit better. I'm
Sure,
glad that both coaches came together and agreed, like, hey, let's just end it now. Like, Wilfred Nancy is a class act, and what he did was absolutely beautiful and just proves that there's more to life than just football.
oh yeah. I think both can be true when you're talking about, doing his job, but also having a better feel for things. Like the clips that have been posted of Brian saying, "I will walk onto the pitch to stop this match." Uh, his voice sounded shaky then, you know. But yeah, for so much respect. I had had a little bit of like frustration with Columbus after the 2020 MLS Cup. Like that was a frustration of a match. But yeah, just a lot of appreciation for that because it's scary. I mean, any head injury is nothing to mess with in any sport. Um, and when the guy's on the ground, I mean, I especially with yeah. Anyway, I wanted to talk about it. Is there anything else with that situation, Michael? Because you were there. Anything else that you think is valuable to be mentioned to start the show?
Not necessarily. I mean, the only thing I do want to bring up is the fact how eerily silent everything was from the press box to the stadium. Like you can tell everybody who was there and all Lumen Field, everyone was hurt seeing Fry on the ground like that. And it just proves to how great of a guy he is and how much he means to the city and to this club.
Yeah, that's like I did there's Super is getting a statue out. Super is getting a statue outside of Climate Pledge Arena next month, and I at the end of the article I put for a bunch of the pro teams who I think should get a statue or who would have meet the criteria, so to say, in my mind. Which as writers we don't know everything, but we have to put out informed guesses a lot of the time, right? I mean, it's our job. I think Steph is up there in Sounders history. There are a few guys. Nico should be up there. Uh, Ozzy's a name a lot of people like, but I think Steph is also like in the modern era with Nico. You could argue he could go up there. Obviously, the the Toronto MLS Cup save like comes to mind,
I
but
want that specifically to be the statue for
like
that incident.
that would be a outstanding statue. Like how many people would go to see that? But yeah, one of the greatest players to ever wear the Rave Green. Greatest players, greatest human beings. So, yeah. Sorry, wanted to start the show with that. Thought that was more important than everything else. Um, the match itself, though, um, Michael, it was tough because I did have this on. Part of it dipped into the later part of the Mariners game. I was over there for post game stuff. Oh, interesting. Um, sorry, guy I went to high school with just got a 5-year extension in the NBA. Fascinating. I wish I had talent. Um, I feel like there's a few ways to feel about this match, and we'll talk about the individual pieces, right, and the players that go into this. But in a vacuum, and I hate some people. Some people will hate to hear that. Splitting points isn't bad against this Columbus team. There was all the talk coming into it. They had won 3 matches, but those 3 matches had been at home, right? They sit. I think after the match, they sat at fourth in the East.
In the East, yeah.
Yep. Oh wait, they got. Oh, sorry, I'm looking at Supporter Shield. Wrong one. They're even. I mean, still within knocking distance of Supporter Shield. Fucking Cincinnati, Jesus. Um, but obviously, vacuum is not how a lot of fans operate, right? And I don't blame them. Of course, I don't. You know, um, it was nice to see Kalani get the start, but obviously the process to how we get there with Alex Rolon starting at center back again is not certainly ideal. Um, I was interested in the Jesus start again. I think you texted the group chat. You're like, oh boy, something along the lines of Jesus starting again. Um, same lineup as the last match. Um, but I think what's most frustrating about this team, and I think we talked about it a few weeks ago, not the last week one where it was you and Owen, but missed chances and how frustrating that's been with this team for years. Um, the generation that they've been able to create. Whether it's Moose up top getting the start again, who's kind of been the de facto starter up top, um, and just not being able to put things away, which has led them to draws like this or not being able to, get results like in matches they should. Overall, your thoughts on this match and how you come away feeling from it before we get into, the individual parts of it.
The nitty gritty. I feel like this match it was a good match. It wasn't horrible by any means. I saw some aggregator accounts saying that, oh, this was the worst Sounders half in a long time. If it wasn't for that goal, it'd be the worst. Yeah, oh yeah. Um, Not true. This game easily could have been 3-1 at halftime if the Sounders actually put away their chances. Overall, I am happy with the result. I'm happy-ish on how they played because they still fought for every ball. There were times where I felt like that Columbus was letting the Sounders kind of gain momentum, kind of have the ball a little bit, kind of see what they were going to do with it. Overall, Columbus was the better team, but I'm not upset with how the Sounders played.
That's, yeah, that can be true. I know for some fans, again, there's that doesn't exist. It's
Yeah.
only emotion one way or the other. But yeah, they're just I've had so many conversations about this team, not with, you guys, but like people ask me who don't necessarily watch the Sounders often enough. They go, "Oh, so what's up with the Sounders? How are they doing? What's their outlook?" Um, and so often I immediately I go into matches like this where it's like you play a good match, play a good team, um, and you should have walked away with a result at times. And because of lack in quality, lack of execution, we're having conversations like this where it's, missed opportunity, um, you know, which is frustrating. I mean, I hate having to get this over and over again. It's, what's the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results.
Yeah.
Um, I will say though, there are a few different like performances in this that one of them related to something I want to talk about later. Christian Roldan having another good match, which I mean, par for the course for that guy. I mean, Jesus
Mhm.
Christ. But again, oh, I guess he had a good first half, I'd say, because I kind of forgot about the second yellow for Kalani. Uh,
Yeah.
it's frustrating.
Which
It's
actually, I want to start off with that
sure,
with
okay.
Kalani's. His second yellow card was so soft. The Heat ACL Jackson literally just bumped into him and jumped off and just made it seem like it was like a full on like hard tackle. And I don't think any other referee would have given that as a second yellow. Because I don't think Kalani had enough fouls leading up to that to
Mm.
warrant a second yellow card. So I think if it wasn't for that, I think Kalani probably would have been man of the match for me.
Yeah, because I mean his ball, I mean that assist, Jesus Christ. Um, it is funny to talk two guys that we've been talking about on the show somewhat regularly, in Kalani and Paul, at least Paul with the winger talk that we had a few weeks ago, right? Like whoop, to see them uh play the role that they did in this match. I know again most of this ball was oops, as I try to pull it up here from memory and not be a total mess. Um is Kalani. Like it's I think someone made a point online is that some teams look at the draft and it matters to them. And you see Kalani connect with Paul Rothrock, and I go, oh, I can understand that then. Um, which I don't know. It's fascinating in football, like at least the American side. The NWSL has gone away from the draft. I don't know if the MLS ever will. I, I don't
God, I
know. I
hope
kind of
so.
doubt it. We'll see. I mean, but just seeing, oh my God, this is beautiful. Yeah, seeing Alex find Kalani up the wing. See,
Saying three
makes it even
college
better,
guys.
Michael, that
Oh,
he's a Husky. It makes it makes it even better. Paul doesn't even have to do anything. I mean, Paul's clearing away. He's gotten behind his guy.
he timed his run perfectly with that last center back too. It was just
Mhm.
everything about the play was perfect.
That was that's beautiful. That's nice. That's what I want to see from this team, right? And it is funny that it's coming from some of the younger guys, um, but also frustrating to see the orange colors on my foot mob screen here from some of your attackers, um, and how the match went for them. Um, is there an in-house solution to the right wing or the striker position? Like, is I don't think so because again, from what we'll talk about, there is a transfer report about a player, but I don't know if that answers it immediately. And I'm
In-house,
not
there's really nothing for the striker role.
no.
That's a problem until Jordan gets 100% healthy. But even then, I we don't know if that's going to be happening the next month or so. He looks decent in training, I guess, but like on the pitch, he looks slow to react, and he's not moving
Mm,
as quick as he was, which it's normal. He's coming off an injury. I'm not mad about that, but like,
yeah.
it's still something to monitor.
Yeah, I was interested in that because I listened to the match day one press conference with Brian. He said, "Oh, he's full go." I said, "Huh? It is he really full go? Is it like able to?" Yeah, I was kind of intrigued by that. So to hear that's not encouraging, but yeah, again, I think it's fair to give some. Whoa, sorry, saw the LA Galaxy score. Did not realize they had that
Yeah,
in them.
yeah, that's rough. But with the right wing, especially, I think it's last week. I know for those who listened to this last week, I was hammering down that Jesus Ferreira should be starting on the right wing because he is the only one putting up numbers out of all the whole winger group. They're not high numbers, but he is putting up numbers, right? Um, this game, I didn't even notice he was there 90% of the time. And I was talking to my other Cascadia writer, Cal, it felt like whenever he had the ball, he was killing attacks 90% of the time,
Oh,
or he just passed backwards or passed diagonally to Obed or Christian. Like he wasn't doing winger things. He was just kind of there.
oh God, that's
So I think we should be starting Ryan Kent. I think it's obviously Pedro. He's in the doghouse right now. Whatever it is, whatever's going on.
the short
He's
hair.
only It's a short hair. He's getting garbage minutes. That's it. Just start Paul and start Ryan Kent on either wing. Doesn't matter which side is which, and just leave it at that. I think for foreseeable future, it should be like that.
Wait, say that again?
That for the foreseeable future, it should be Ryan Kent and Paul Rothrock starting on
Oh,
either
okay.
wing.
Yeah. I was like, okay, for some reason I didn't hear Paul's name, and I was like, whoa, why are we taking Paul out of this?
Nah, bench your only
Um,
goal scoring option right now.
which is so wild, right? Like, how is that a thing? How is how is Paul Rothrock, in his rise? How is he, I'm not mad at it. Don't get me wrong, I'm not mad at it, but it is kind of fascinating to see. Um, yeah, I just with Jesus, the match that he had, I was so encouraged. Because don't get me wrong, like there can be frustration with the lack of production, so to say, right? I can understand that. But you can also say, hey, like he hasn't been complete garbage ass throughout the course of the season. Not complete.
Not complete.
And so I was hoping last week was like a confidence booster, like, hey, got this goal, got this assist, like mentally hope it frees you up and you can just play the match. And then you do this. I'm like, what the
Yeah,
fuck?
it
Like
puts
what
another stinker out. Like,
what happened? So yeah, I would like to turn Ryan Kent loose. Let him have it. Whatever the hell is happening with Pedro, cut his hair. Like it's not a phase, mom.
yeah.
I don't.
Something's up. It's weird. I mean, from what I keep seeing, like people's training reports, like he's doing well in training, he's giving 100%. But like, if you're having your $7 million DP coming off for garbage minutes and only playing 78 minutes over the course of 3 games,
Oh God.
that is slightly alarming.
Yeah, yeah. And then that gets to other decisions that you might potentially make in terms of money and spending, right? Ooh. We'll get to that. Um, yeah. I will say though, Alex sort of like it. I was thinking about this right with him getting this second start when I saw that. Like, I don't think us talking about Kalani and wanting to see Kalani is necessarily like hate train for Alex Roldan. I think
Hmm.
it's just more of seeing what Kalani has been able to bring, and his injection. And I mean, even again, the match day one press conference, Brian talked about the energy he brings. Guys like being around him. I was like, wow, you're saying like we're not to use this term, but we're glazing here. Like we're really we're really pouring it on. But again, just watching that goal, watching him cut through, collect the ball, cut through, like all in one motion. And the nice pass. And he's younger and he's cheaper than other options. Like it's exciting. But I will say, all that, like Alex Rodon has played two strong matches at center back when you've really needed him to. Brian mentioned again in match day one. Sorry to continue to reference that. By the way, did you know I listened to the match day one press conference?
I didn't
Um,
know.
Yamar was supposed to go like have a high intensity day over the weekend so they could reassess his timeline. They there was thought that he might be able to go for the Kansas. I don't know why I said it like that. The Kansas City match. But they were reassessing him, so who knows what that looks like now. But he should be like within the next let me get the schedule out for sure. Jesus, I open up sounders.com and it's immediately Steph. Hello, Steph. Um, within the next week or so, if I understand Brian's coach talk correctly, because you know how coaches can be. It just
Yeah.
I'm like, I need an answer here. Oh yeah, because you've got three matches in the course of a week, right? You've got the 12th against Kansas City, you've got the 16th against Colorado, then you've got the 19th against San Jose. So I don't know, maybe have him land here, not land here, but give him the softer landing of playing at home against Colorado on the 16th. I don't know. Well, I will probably hear more from training tomorrow. So,
Yeah.
um,
I
yeah,
mean,
I guess,
ideally, I think with Neymar, especially because he had a setback in his injury, I
yeah,
feel like it'd be more beneficial to maybe wait until the San Jose game to get him some minutes.
that would make sense.
That would just be me, but
So,
like I
sure.
don't know.
Oh no, 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 no. I was just saying, I was like that. So that makes me think. I was like, given the way that Alex Roldan has played, you say, hey, buddy, it's okay. Like we're not hurting here right now. You know, have you seen that meme where it was I think it was Colin Cowherd and he was like, hey, LeBron, Ben Simmons is here. We're okay. Like Yamar, it's fine. Alex
Neymar,
Roldan
it's
is here.
fine.
We can call it good. I mean, you do have John Bell back, which doesn't entice me. Don't get me wrong, but given the fact that you started Alex, you've got John Bell if you need him. There has been I've heard the murmurs that you could potentially in a pinch play Cody Baker at center back, which
The GOAT,
I
Cody Pickett, the GOAT.
you remember Cody Baker's insanity run?
Yes, I loved that. I was shouting from the rooftops for him to be a starting right back last season when he had that run.
Cody Baker, like the amount of white boys that the Sounders have that have insanity runs. Cody Baker, Paul Rothrock has turned into reality and not a insanity run, which is
Hmm.
fun. So, but yeah, so no, I mean, my point in saying that is like hearing you say that, like given the week that they're having, uh, I could understand, yeah, saying, hey, like let's let you, especially with the setback. That's a great point. Thank you. Let's wait you out here. Let's make sure we're getting you right because it's a long season. We don't want to speed you up just for immediate help. Yeah, I was gonna say my match thoughts and totality since we've kind of gone through them. Uh, Jesus, Jesus stinker. Denny Musovski stinker as well. Kalani and Paul, you can do no wrong. Same to Christian, even though he's got the yellow in this one, but whatever. Um, and Alex Rodon, didn't know you had that in you. To do that twice, play center back like that. Anything else from the match that stood out to you again as the one of us who was there yesterday? Anything else that stood out to you from this match? I know you mentioned watching Columbus was fun, and yeah, if I could get past the Charlie Brown kit, I would agree, but that still lives
That's
in my
fair.
head.
Iconic. No, honestly, like I want to double down on that. Watching them play is super fun. They play that the system that the Sounders attempted to play for a bit there, that 3-4-2-1.
Ah,
They play that so well. It's perfect. And I was pointing out to people in the press box, I was like, watch how they are defending and how they are attacking with and without the ball. They're constantly in those triangles, whether they're small or larger. There is not, you can pinpoint wherever the ball is going to end up going. And it's just really, it's beautiful football to watch.
totally forgot about the 3421 era. That I think I tried to scrub it from my brain, and you've
I
you've
I
brought it
think we
back.
all did.
So All right. So yeah, there's a few things that come to mind. A few. This might be a deeper episode because there's a lot that's happened with the club. Talked about the match, talked about Steph. Before we even got to the match, unfortunately there was an injury. João Paulo has suffered a torn ACL in his right knee. It's the same, I believe it's the same ACL he suffered
Yeah.
yeah, in CONCACAF Champions League. It's absolutely brutal, in a lot of ways, for him, obviously to end the season this way. Any Anytime you have that ripped from you is difficult. 34 though, you start to wonder, hey, what do you do?
Like, how do you
What
come
is
back from that on the same knee?
on the same, yeah, let alone if it just happened once at this stage of his career.
Mhm.
But yeah, to have it done twice, and then again, I'm trying to put this in levels of priority. What does the club do? Because for him, this has got to be this guy is I don't know how to use the if I want to use this word, but like he has been such a big part of this club. I don't know if I want to use the word legend, but he's been huge for the Sounders, like in the I was going to say late tens into the 20s here, right? Just like
Yeah.
his MVP candidate year, what he was doing in 22 before he got hurt. Um,
He was the best center mid in the entire league, without a doubt. And it sucks that age and injuries have gone to him, but like I think it wouldn't be that far-fetched to say he's a club legend
okay,
in the modern
yeah, I
era.
was like
In the modern era.
modern era, yes, thank you. Yeah, I was like considering what he's done and the impact he's played, I was like, I feel like he is, but I don't know if I should be slanging things around like that. Um, yeah, just brutal. Wednesday training session, non-contact situation. Anytime it's the non-contact. Um, I was interested with JP coming into the season. I was like, hey, you're older. Like, I would be totally understanding if he wanted to go play somewhere else where he'd probably get more minutes, right? Because he hasn't played a ton this
Mhm.
year. Um, yeah, they haven't scheduled a surgery yet. They haven't yet formally placed him on season-ending injury. Um, they're
I expect
assessing.
that in the next couple of days though.
Yeah, because I mean, ACLs are. It's interesting. I have seen. Not. I will not derail us totally, but lately with ACLs, like how they're. I saw a study that says 2 years is more of the like realistic timeline for an athlete to be fully ready, and I was like, Jesus. Um, you know, it could be at least 6 to 9 months, but typically, of course, longer.
Yeah.
So he'll be out of contract. Um, Wait. Oh, there's a team option next year. Sorry, I was
Yeah.
wrong. Um,
Which they have not exercised yet.
yes. So yeah, he could potentially be out of contract. I don't know, Mike. What do you think? Obviously, this is brutal for him. Like again, this is a guy that the club has loved. Obviously, the fan base has loved. Um, it's tough, but part of the reason we're here, this is a business. We do have to look at it as we have to figure the options out here. What can the Sounders do?
I mean, the Sounders can let him write out the contract for end of the year, and then if I, I'm not João Paulo, I'm not a professional football player, but if it were me, I think at the end of the season, I'd say time to hang up my boots. I think it'd be cool the Sounders if they let him ride out his contract to the end. That way he can still get paid while in recovery and using the facilities. Because guarantee if he announces retirement now after post surgery, like, what, he's gonna just walk away from Seattle and have to do stuff at home. Like,
Yeah, I I think they'll let him ride it out for sure.
but then also you have to think like for the Sounders' sake, roster wise, like you got to bring someone in, right?
Um,
Because otherwise, your only option at that defensive midfield spot is Danny Leva, but he's been being deployed more of as like a number 10 at times as a sub for Albert.
yeah, which is interesting to me because he played a good amount of minutes in the beginning of the season.
Mhm.
Um, Before they've kind of really locked into the the midfield of Christian Roldan, which I'm not disagreeing with at all. But I do remember him eating a bunch of minutes up, and I think I talked with Owen. This might have been before we had you join. Um, about with Owen about how many minutes he'd been eating up, and like again, that'll happen over the course of the season, right? You'll ebb and flow. We talked about depth. like a certain Josh Atencio. Um, so yeah, this is tough. Um, I just wonder because I mean, you'd already like, how do you? I don't imagine they bring anybody up from Tacoma to fill this.
Snyder Brunel
Haven't played it. Well,
wouldn't be a
hmm.
horrible option. He's
No,
not gonna. He'll get the same amount of minutes as JP would.
and it'd be cheaper than going out and getting someone, you know, that's not from within the organization. So
Hmm.
I don't know what if you're Craig Weibel, is that what you do? What would you do? Are you looking for someone, or is it just, hey, this is a guy we've liked a lot already in our own organization. We're gonna, help you deploy here and we're gonna let you ride out.
I think the smart thing would be to bring someone up within the organization. We know the Sounders aren't too keen to go outside or even outside of MLS to bring in talent. So I mean, like it makes sense just to bring up a guy, especially if he's not going to be getting that much game time. Like if he's going to get like garbage time minutes or it's like to close out a game. I think you bring up Snyder Bruno.
It makes sense to me. I mean, I thought I saw a report that he'll sign a first team contract. Um, so yeah, could certainly do that. I mean, having played with Tacoma the last few years. Um, hmm, okay. All right. Yeah, that makes sense. Especially given I was gonna bring up, they had already been looking at other options for other positions, like up top. So like I'm sure they wouldn't be thrilled of having to deploy more resources for something
Yeah.
else that just happened, which again is brutal. Speaking of midfielders, there is the report that Obed Vargas will have his option exercised for next season, and that the club is working on a 2-year deal with them. I believe you're gonna have to. I'm sure you've heard it before. Have to tell me how to pronounce Andrew Wybe Weeb
Weeby.
Weeby.
Sh Shout out to Andrew Weeby for breaking the news before the match started, surprising literally everybody.
Like casually. I was sitting there again. They're charging. I sitting there in the Mariners press box. I've got the second laptop chart, and I hear that, and I had to like turn the volume up, replay. I was like, what is happening? Nice casual hits you in the face with that right before the match starts. Yeah. So this was the thing I was thinking about the most, Mike, like knowing we were going to record today, was the 2-year extension. Because I've already seen some fan discussion about it. Just basically him staying, right? So exercise next year's option in the 2-year deal that keeps you here through what, 2028. Um, unless I'm horrible at math. I only took one math class at UW, so
Yeah, 2028. The math is
um,
mathing.
good. And then Sandra Hart confirmed that it would occupy a U22 initiative spot if he were to sign that deal. So I'm intrigued. Like this could all not matter at all to his immediate future and a transfer. I don't know. Like I've seen some folks see like some fans be like, this is gonna like he's gonna rot here. Like
Oh
this is so
God.
stupid. One was much more like normal. It was like, oh, like if he wants to spend some time here, that's great. Like obviously it's the Sounders gain and he likes it here. It was like, oh, wow, reasonable human being. Crazy thought. Um, I think at the end of the day, this just kind of makes it, hey, you're signed with us. You will continue to improve throughout the course. Like, it doesn't stop him from going anywhere, right? What do you think about it? Just
If
because,
anything, it gives the Sounders more leverage to ask for more money. Because he's on extended contract, players have to
yeah.
buy out the rest of or teams have to buy out the rest
Oh,
of
I
that
see.
contract.
Yeah.
So I think it's beneficial for both parties. Obed gets that financial cushion, getting paid upwards to close to $1 million a year, roughly, if the math is mathing. And the Sounders get a quality player, a quality young player for another year and a half or so.
Yeah. No, that's why I was interested. That's why it made it so interesting to come and talk to you about because I was like, I don't know why we're upset about this. Like, maybe it's just folks who don't understand that this doesn't restrict anything. which is fine. Like I'm
Mhm.
not the most knowledgeable of contracts and all that. Like it's tough. Again, there's some resources where in different sports where I can see to the bone what players are wearing on a game day, like their equipment. And then it's tough
Mhm.
like this where sometimes with MLS is becoming more transparent with salaries, which is cool.
Yeah.
It's
It
good
just
to have
takes a
those
while. It's like
resources.
twice a year we get updates.
Yes. Yeah. So it's very slowly happening, but that's what like I would understand if folks are like they don't 100% understand why something like this would not be the biggest concern.
Mhm.
Um I
Especially for
think
the casual fan, they don't think the football transfer market is completely different compared to anything else in American
oh yeah.
sports. Like
Oh,
I think the
it's
general understanding, they still think it's salary cap. He's gonna be locked in until the end of his contract. Like I understand the frustration just because there's no knowledge behind it.
yeah, no, for sure. It is like even keeping up with um kind of the summer transfer window in the world. Like I'm trying to figure out what Arsenal's doing. Like Gyökeres, I'm like, let's push the deal across. But seeing how some people move like that, it is pretty fascinating. I'm trying to keep track of everything. I believe transfer market uh kind of listed him at 7 million. There was a report that Tigres wanted to pay $10 million for him, but he wants to go to Europe, which sure, understandable. That's your career, dude. And if teams like you're gonna be good enough to go to Europe, like pull that leverage. Do your
Yeah.
thing,
Oh
dude.
yeah.
Um, yeah, no, I think this doesn't. Yeah, there's no concern here for me. I'm
Mhm.
not. There's no reason to be concerned because hey, you get to keep a guy who's basically like a locked starter in your midfield who's continuing to get better until a team ultimately gives you the right amount of money, which you can then parlay into hopefully, more players or a player that will help you continue to grow the club. Like, Obed would get his move that he wants, and the Sounders would get a large chunk of dollars. Like it's so no, I don't know. Just the kind of like confusion part is what made it interesting to me. I was
Yeah.
like, I wonder what Mike thinks about this. So um, there is that. Shall we talk about Noah, Ohio?
Noah, Ohio. Greatest name in MLS should he come to Seattle.
Feels like it would fit in MLS. Yeah, that would. Jesus Christ. So Noah, Ohio is a 22-year-old forward. Um, he's a Dutch striker. Didn't know we would get a Dutch guy. Um, that
Would he
he's
be
a
the
potential.
first Dutch to play for the Sounders?
Ooh, that's a good. No, no one immediately comes to my mind, but I don't want to say yes because I feel like maybe there's a name that I'm dusting under, and then someone in the comments would be really upset at me. I don't think. I think yes. I think yes.
Let's say
I'm
yes.
not. Um. So yeah, Nico. From what I understand, Nico Moreno posted the first friend of the show, Nico. Still gonna get Nico on. He told me anytime, but I have yet to actually um
Do
get
it.
that moving. Yeah, it's tough. There's a lot going on. Per Nico, there's actually an offer on the table from the Sounders, not just, hey, we're interested in the guy and we're sniffing around him. Um, Former RB Leipzig player, negotiations going on. So it seems like if you've got an offer on the table and negotiations are going on, like unless things hit a snag, it seems like that would be your next move. I don't know, Mike. What do you think about this? What is there anything that sticks out to you about Noah? Have you done any research on him previously? Like, because I mean, you get a 22-year-old
Not a lot.
striker. Ideally, this is going to be your guy to help you up top for the future.
Mhm. So from what I know from Noah, Ohio, he definitely benefited from Utrecht having kind of like a rough, middling season. Um, he is doing decently well, or did well with the Netherlands in the under 21 Euros during that the summer. From what research I've done and other Dutch journalists I've actually reached out to kind of get some information on the kid, he is very good at converting uh, chances or like touches in the box to chances. Like he is not afraid to turn and shoot. His
Huh.
finishing over the course of his career, from being a city prospect all the way between Leipzig to now Utrecht, has gotten better and better every year. Um, The only issues that I think could pop up with his style of play or how he plays with how the Sounders play, he doesn't have the best off the ball qualities. So when it comes to
Ah.
his pressing or his dropping back on defense, and his overall pace could be a little more detrimental to us. He's definitely more of like I think I had like a Danny Musovski type nine, like more of like a hold up play, which I think would benefit the Sounders team so well. But he's not going to put in the defensive work, which obviously he's
Mm.
still young. He's 22. Schmetz could pound that into his little brain to make him press and defend. But I think that having a player this young, I think would, and with this much potential, I think would be really beneficial for this team.
Yeah, again, just 22. Um, Interesting. Interesting. Left-footed. Uh, yeah, kind of interesting looking at his like market value move up. Didn't know he was a whole city guy. All right. All right. Uh, if transfer market knows it, we'll see. But they have the current rumors, interested club Sounders, probability of transfer 55%. And there's a little red down arrow. I don't like that.
It went down, yeah. I will say though, I have talked to some people that I do know over in Europe and just like other podcasters that I'm in contact with. He is being he has talked or he hasn't talked to clubs, but there are clubs from Eredivisie and the Belgian league that are also kind of keep an eye on him and have contacted Utrecht about the player. Nothing concrete, no offers on the table as far as I know, as far as I've been told.
Hmm.
But as far as I know, Sounders are leading the race
Hmm.
to sign him. He would be an under 22 player. So,
Okay. Well, that makes me feel a little bit better. So thank you for that, Mike. Yeah, he's not small. I mean, 6'1", doesn't look necessarily too, but I mean, he's younger. Like, yeah, like you
mhm.
mentioned. So that's part of it is watching. That's always fun watching the player grow. Huh. Okay. I'm interested by that. Um, so in an ideal world, that gets done. Is there anything else? I don't know if there's anything else they can do because it seems like they're clutching the wallet a little bit.
Yeah.
Is I don't know. Do you think anything else in an ideal world? I'm not saying I'm gonna give you like 100 million pounds and say go
Let's do
ahead and yeah,
it.
like it's FIFA and I'm increasing your budget, like just holding the slider down. I don't know what else would you want to see the Sounders do outside of I'm gonna have to stop laughing at it because if he actually comes here and I just think in my head, no, Ohio, while he's talking, it's gonna be really bad. Um,
Gen Z brain rot
Pretty
signing.
much. And he's gonna be like, why is this bald guy laughing at me? And fuck. I don't know. Is there anything else that like so in this scenario, as you mentioned, so with Zhao out, Snyder Brunel comes up and takes that sort of role. And then you bring in No Ohio, like I feel like with the talent that you already have that you're not getting enough from, I don't know if you can afford to keep bringing things in, right? You're just going to need for your own group to essentially play better and
To
execute
perform,
better.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you're we're putting you in the Craig Weibel seat again. You're going to have to shave the hair,
Might have
um,
to just get rid of it all. Just
for the bit, of course. I don't know what else. Besides Ohio, is there anything you would want to see the Sounders do? Within reason. Because again, I would like for them to do a lot more things if I was sitting
yeah.
here playing with an imaginary budget.
I think that if I were Craig Weibel, I'd be looking to an MLS to finding an under 22 defensive midfielder.
Okay.
Only because we can call up Snyder Burnell, but also like he's still a kid. He does have zero MLS experience. Open Cup does not count. He has zero MLS experience, and I just think that you want to bring in a player who's going to contribute and fight for minutes immediately, especially with the idea that Obed it might not be around after the summer window or after this season in general. Like you want to bring in somebody who's going to be a, basically a deputy for Obed, even if they're going to be a little older.
So you would like for them to be proactive in that regard and not have to scramble once, someone comes in and offers the hefty set of money so Obed can make his move.
Yes, I
Yeah,
think
that
that would
makes
be the
sense.
smartest way to do it.
That makes sense.
I'm not an MLS GM, and I know the Sounders
You're
are
not?
clutching their pearls. So
It is kind of frustrating in that regard to kind of like again, I talked about it with I think I've talked about it with you on the show and with Owen on the show. Just hearing about how in the last summer window that they would push their resources until the winter, and they said we had the resources to get better, and then it was trade that general allocation money in Leo Chu to get Jesus Ferreira, and hearing the quote after that trade that this is what we had, this is our best offer. I was like, oh fuck! It was like wow. So yeah, that's not great. I want to end with something that is a little maybe less, I would say less on the field, but technically they have to wear it on the field. The first third kit for the club since 2017, Mike. Um, I saw the Sounders PA guy, James Wallard, is like footy headlines is clearly a plant by the clubs, by the like Adidas to like generate like there's no way they're actually leaking things. I'm like, I don't know, maybe like it's not far fetched, I guess. But anyway, yeah, no, the I've finally seen it because I know some of us like know things. Um, but it's not a bad looking kit. I was kind of intrigued by it, like the rumors earlier in the season. Um, I'm good with it. I'm good with it. I'm sure I'll get a clip, get a picture and put it here. But nice to kind of see homage to the A League side. I think 1994. Um,
the combo of both the home and the away kit from '94.
you get the new Sammy logo over here, the purple. I love a purple, Mike. You know
It's
that.
stunning.
Um,
I will say, in person, it looks so much better than what the renderings show that
ugh.
Footy Headlines posted out. Um,
Um,
and I do want to say that I know I've been posting the kit from like the 1982 season all over Twitter and Blue Sky. I've been trying to lead people off the scent of what the kit
ah,
actually looks like. Since I'm like doing like two different pictures, one that has the actual thing and one that doesn't.
oh,
Well,
okay,
it was intentional. I was trying to be nice to someone at Adidas, trying to be a true
sure,
homie,
that's fair. I mean, you can't.
and
People don't get that.
now I'm screwed.
Oh, now you are. I was gonna say you can't just like, especially with us in our line of work. It's like I can't just throw everything out there. It's like you got to be able to learn how to wean it out.
Drop little tidbits here and there.
You gotta, yeah. I mean, come on, you can't throw it all out there. Yeah, I wasn't sure how I was gonna feel about it. You know, I'm not. It doesn't come from any like reasonable doubt. I feel like lately the Sounders kits have been great. I still need to get a Salish kit. It looks beautiful,
Yeah.
and it's also fun to see like the world of football. Like see guys, who primarily do Premier League stuff or whatever, rate MLS kits, and they're like Sounders S tier. Let's move on. Like they don't even
hmm
need to like talk about it. It's great. It feels great to like not have a team look at you and feel like that looks like shit. Um, Sorry, I'm looking at pictures of it now again. Oh, yeah, no, it's always interesting. Obviously, there's been the like I think some people have been able to start finding the jacket and the shoes that go with the like clothing line for it. My big thing is when the hell are they going to unveil it? Because uh I want to see it in action. I want to get going. Let's go. Like I want to give me
Um, the 16th
in 9 days. So
in
that
9 days.
that
Yes.
would that would make it available for Leagues Cup hypothetically.
Yes. Keep
Hmm.
an eye out on the 16th. Just keep your peepers peeled on that.
Wake
Keep
up
them
early that
peepers
day.
peeled for a club legend to help with the announcement as well. I'm not going to say who, but it's definitely a club legend. It's going to be a great night.
I was trying to come up with an obscure player to reference. Oh, Bear. They're gonna get Bear back.
Oh my God, you know how incredible that'd be?
I needed to come out with an obscure player and throw that at you. Okay. All right. Good to know. Oh yeah, I'll be ready that day. I'll sit by my computer like this and just
It's like waiting.
okay. Yeah, no, I mean, I love the way that they've integrated the like the shoulders look great. I love the lighter, is it a bluish green? Yeah, well,
Yeah. I just
don't
love
get
the
me wrong.
Orca. I love the
Oh
Orca.
yeah, I would I like when they did the kit like the brand refresh, I was like, fuck yes, more Orca usage. Like they had kind of because this is the last 2 years is when we've seen Sammy really, right? Like the
Hmm.
actual mascot.
Seen him a lot,
Like
yeah.
because I don't do you remember before uh when I feel like they decided to like dust him off from the shed he was in.
Okay.
And so I love it. I love whale related things like the orca, like the sea wolves. I don't have anything around here for it, but I love that part of it, and I think somewhat unrelated, but I swear I'll bring us back. Like in the area, there's been a lot of great like jersey making. Obviously in the NHL, people like what the Kraken have done with their logo. Like as someone who worked with them, like people we had fans around the NHL come in and buy stuff just because they liked the logo and the
Hmm.
branding. Like the color palette around here is pretty great. And I do like though when people stray from just the primary like dark green, dark blue, so to say, right? Like this
Yeah.
purple, this is nice. It's not like a hard purple. Ah, ah, yes, I am a fan of this. Um, yeah. All right. Wow, God. Oh God, the wow. So this is gonna be the first third kit since the Xbox era?
Yeah.
Jesus. I think so. I don't know if you can't say that's fine, but I think one of the other things that people noticed was that the Providence sponsorship is not front and center.
Hmm.
It is on the little like tail ass part.
Yeah.
Um, that's real.
That is real, yeah. So it's gonna be like how kind of like the third kits were from last season, where it showed like the club team in front, or like how Inter Miami just says Miami going across the front. And from
Good.
what I know, like the sponsors don't seem to be too upset by it. Like they're still getting money off of it, so like I'm sure they don't care.
Okay. I just know again there were some people that were really happy about that, and I wanted to make sure it wasn't like, here's what you got in the picture, and then in reality, it's
Yeah.
okay. All right. That's good. I'm happy with that. Excuse me. Sorry. I am quite happy with that. All right. I think that's a lot of it, man. Yeah, Jesus.
That was a big one.
Lot of stuff to do in Sounders land over the past week. So anything last call that I didn't mention or maybe that we didn't talk about enough that you want to look at before we wrap up?
No, no, I'm chilling.
All right. Well, another week. Another week. No Owen this week. It's weird not having Owen here. Um, you guys probably rolled along like it was fine last week. It was like, all right, no
No,
bald
felt
guy to
wrong.
speak.
Felt wrong.
Um, but oh yeah, it's gonna be okay. I was gonna say the like three matches over the course of 7 days is not going to interrupt our show. We'll be able to do another one on Monday next week. It depends. We might do it earlier on Sunday. I know early week, and not have to worry about the next two matches after that in the 16th and the 19th. Was Colorado and see you on a Wednesday again, Mike.
Mhm.
The lovely Rapids come to town, and then San Jose on the 19th. So okay, all right. Well, till we see you next week. Against Sporting KC. Anytime I see Sporting KC, I think of Tim Elliott. Oh boy. I will. That is still to this day the craziest thing I've seen on that field. I've seen them win Champions League. I saw the MLS Cup in 2019. Christian Roldan getting body slammed in the goal is still the wild. I couldn't.
Mhm.
I don't know who was next to me in the press box then, but I looked over and I was like, "What the fuck?" I
Wait,
was like,
did that really happen?
pretty much. And then MLS was like, "Yes, The Rock tweet about a player of ours getting body slammed." Yes,
We're
typical
relevant.
MLS. Yeah, pretty much. I remember the discourse then too. So, all right, man. Well, till we see you next week. Take care of yourselves. Be well. Do whatever you can to make today a great day. Owen got that too. These fucking guys. I remember seeing that.
Hey, Charles.
Hey, Jen.
Hey. So where are you going to watch all of the Sounder away games this year?
Away games for the Sounders. Well, since Rough and Tumble is the home of Circling Seattle Sports, I was thinking of coming here if that's okay with you.
I think that's a great idea. Go Sounders. Hope we see you all here.